out. The only thing is they don't have punctuation and paragraphs, so Magna Carta has been a problem with that, isn't it, if you've seen it. But first of all, they have the short title, which tells you roughly what it's about. Then they have the preamble, and the preamble sets out the defect in the common law that this statute is intended to rectify. Okay? Defect that it intends to rectify. It doesn't take away the common law, it improves it, amends it. Then there's the new rules. These should be the rules in future, which amend the common law, improve it, technical term. And then there's the enforcement clause. Do this and there's a penalty. Go to prison or whatever. And that's the correct way to interpret the statute. And the court, in interpreting that statute, is also entitled to look at surrounding material, because there'll be a committee stage, won't there, for example, where it's debated line by line. And there'll be research papers put forward to justify it, like the Law Commission puts forward papers. And so the whole package and the history comes into it, and it comes into my case, and I'll come to that in a minute, because Hansard's been going since about 1803, I think it is, and prior to that there was reporting in the House of Commons, but it was basically done by the clerks, the gentlemen in wigs, look like barristers who sit in front of the Speaker's chair, and they did it by memory at the end of the day, which is obviously an inexact science, isn't it? And there were court reporters and parliamentary reporters, and Mr. Hansard was an entrepreneur, and he realised that printed newspapers in the early 1800s were coming to prominence, and they needed material to put in them. So Hansard realised, if I set up a scheme whereby we record it for line by line at a time, with shorthand had been invented about then, apparently, I'll make money out of it, and that's what he did. Now, prior to that, it's history books, in actual fact. Lord Chief Justice Blackstone, in his commentaries, actually talks about that. The further you go back in time, the more law is history, and vice versa. They're interchangeable. Historians and lawyers are interchangeable. Because those are the only sources, really, to correctly interpret what was said. So that's Pepper versus Hart. So Pepper versus Hart, as I say, if you want to correctly interpret the Register of Crime Act 1953, then you can go back to those places where MPs and members of the House of Lords quiz the powers that be trying to sell this act, and the powers that be say, no, you're entitled to defend yourself. So, strictly speaking, in the training materials given to the Metropolitan Police, I haven't seen it for other forces, but the training materials of the Metropolitan Police, the right to bear arms is fully acknowledged, because what it says is, if you stop somebody with a weapon, they've got to have lawful authority and reasonable excuse. Now, lawful authority is what?
Common law.
Sorry?
Common law.
Nearly right. You've got my passport on you. Anyone got a passport? Yeah.
No.
British subject. Okay? Passport. British subject. End of. That is it. To correctly interpret a statute, you've got to look at what things that are happening at the time, and we're talking about the Bill of Rights here. So 200 years ago, a British subject was a person whose grandparents were born here, and parents, 2 generations back. British subjects created out of thin air by Act of Parliament. Well, no, there's another issue that needs addressing. Urgently, yes, indeed. So reason for having an offensive weapon, lawful authority, or reasonable excuse. And reasonable excuse should mean common sense, really. But of course it doesn't, because we've all seen stories in the paper where people have been the man with the penknife, the caravan recently. That sort of thing.
Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, Swiss Army knife, and that sort of thing.